Hello, this is Johnny Cycles with CyclesGaming.com, here bringing you another edition of Keeping Modern Janky. Testing out my version of Amulet Dinos. Here we have a turn 2 Pugnacious Hammer Skull and the One Ring and a finisher, but we do not have our Amulet of Vigor, but we'll keep it on the back of the One Ring and getting 2 lands out on turn 2, or on turn 1. See what our opponent's up to. I made a few changes since the last match. We finally got to see some of the synergies in our win last match with Galton Maven plus Belligerent Yearling, getting out an early Galta Primal Hunger. We sort of got to do everything we want, not everything we do, but we got to see a lot of the synergies of the deck and why we're playing the deck. So it was really nice, finally. I mean, I didn't make it, learning how to stack my triggers, understanding the deck better. It's definitely an archetype I've never played. Figuring out when to do my bounce lands to get most value out of them. And looks like we might be up against an Izzet deck. Yep. We're in the free section of play. So you never know what you're going to play against. We played against some fun brews, but it's also nice to go up against some of the tier decks. Alright, so we're going to hopefully get this One Ring down next turn. So Pugnacious Hammer Skull, it gets a stun counter on it when it attacks if you don't control another dinosaur. And then I think what that means is when you go to your, I have to look it up because I thought I understood it and then didn't seem to work the way I thought it did. So from my understanding, what's going to happen is when we attack, we get the stun counter on it, and then it doesn't untap on the next turn. Alright, so we are looking at playing the One Ring into a counterspell or attacking with this Pugnacious. We'll go ahead and attack and get the stun counter, unfortunately, but go ahead and chip in some damage, maybe get our opponent to do something so that we can stick the One Ring. So yeah, so next turn it should lose the stun counter instead of untapping, and the turn after that should untap. That's my understanding of it. Now, I have the Slayer Stronghold that we could have played. We don't have the mana to get the 2 colors out of it that we need using the Mycosynth Gardens to give this +2 and Vigilance. But I also, from what I've learned, giving it Vigilance doesn't stop the stun counter from happening. What it does do though is keep it from untapping the next turn, and so the stun counter ends up staying on there longer than you would think. So I don't think Vigilance and Pugnacious Hammer Skull is a combo. I think it's a non-bow. Unfortunately, the Vigilance doesn't prevent the stun counter from coming on the dinosaur, and with the stun counter it just says you can't attack. Alright, let's see if our opponent decides to tap down so that maybe we can get out this One Ring. We would love to draw anything to bait out a counter spell, or just more lands is what we need. So a dinosaur or lands. Belligerent Yearling even would be great, something that we can cast to keep this thing from having to tap every time we attack. Or we could just get the Urza Saga. That is a legitimate draw. Our opponent's having a slow start. They don't have Delirium yet. We just got an Urza Saga, which means if they don't tap out, we can start making Constructs into an Amulet of Vigor, which at this point is pretty late to the party, but alright, there's a Lightning Bolt just to surveil. I think we can just F6 through this. Okay, so our opponent surveilled an unholy heat, interestingly enough. They still don't have delirium. They got rid of our arboreal grazer, I guess just to swing in a little bit, but they'll probably get delirium on this turn. Still holding up the mana so far. We'll see what they do, but they've been holding up this counter magic pretty consistently. We would really love to get this One Ring down to start drawing, refilling our hand, even if it means not getting a Construct, because we're not going to get them. We're not an Urza Saga deck in the sense of looking to go wide and big with a bunch of Constructs. Okay, Fable. So hopefully that means we can get this, get the One Ring down. And hopefully we'll find a land. We really want to hit a land drop. We want to make our land drops to get this, hopefully get the Galta down. We're going to be untapping with the Pugnacious Hammerskull. And we drew a bounce land, which is good. For now, at least. Now, we get the One Ring, get protection from everything. We don't get the Construct, but at this point, that's really not what we're interested. We're not interested in the Construct. Or we could use the Girl Turf just to bounce. But right now, we really want to get to the Amulet of Vigor. See if they have a Force of Negation. They don't. The Yearling. Okay, well that's a good draw. Unfortunately, we can't cast it, but next turn... So what do? We do the Gruul Turf and bounce the Urza Saga? Nah, we want to save the Gruul Turf, I think, for next turn when we can play it. Actually, it doesn't really matter. So if we go to combat, we get a swing in for 6, put them to... They're going to have to block. We won't get to... But next turn, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know if we want to attack with a Pugnacious here or not. I think we want to wait a turn, because if they do get Delirium, then I think... Well, then they have to attack each turn. So if they... Depending on how they do it... they're going to have to discard with the Fable. They don't have to. They may discard with the Fable, giving them Delirium, which would require them to attack with these two, which would help us get damage in and not and we'll play the Yearling next turn and not have to put a stun counter on our Pugnacious Hammerskull. All of this is assuming that our opponent doesn't have interactions such as counter magic or kill spells. And we're going to be drawing 3 cards and getting an Amulet of Vigor next turn, so hopefully we'll be in a good spot to close out this game. See if our Dinosaurs are going to get big enough. Playing Belligerent Yearling and following it up with Galtal and Maven is sort of the dream. We would love to hit a Cavern of Souls. Okay, so they did hit. Now they got the Unholy Heat, so they're gonna. Of course they did. They got rid of one, but they have the second one because they always do. We kill our Pugnacious Hammerskull. Get in for 6. So of course, I mean, normally I would have last turn been like, they're gonna get the. Of course they're gonna have the. Now they're gonna have counter magic up with that treasure token. Of course they're gonna have the second Unholy Heat after pitching one. I think with the Urza on the stack, we want to go ahead and draw just to see what we get, because if we end up, let's see, 1, 2, 3, we're going to lose that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll go ahead and draw. We did get the Cavern, so that's pretty big. And another Saga. So we can, this turn, we're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we can do the Yearling, but that's it. So I think what we're going to do is get a construct. We're not going to be able to give anything haste. So we can go ahead and get another Urza Saga down. And start the clock and start that fun. So 3, we do this Cavern of Souls. 6, that makes this a 6 mana. I really want to get this Yearling down. They just kill it though. So we'll play another Saga. Opponent's got 2 cards drawing into 3rd with a Fable, so we really need this Yearling to stay alive. And next turn, play Cavern into Galta 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and swing out for lethal. See what our opponent ends up. They're thinking hard about countering this, I think. I mean, we could theoretically just go wide with these constructs if we can stay alive long enough. They're down to 2 cards. Now, they are going to be able to hit us for some damage next turn. They're in the tank. Is the Belligerent Yearling worth countering? They must have a counter spell, but no kill spell, is what I'm guessing. The counter spell, no kill spell really means that they're going to be sad when we untap and play a Galta and Maven and swing in for, theoretically, 3. Alright, so they let that resolve. We played our land, so we'll just pass the turn. So I think it's going to come down to this turn. See what our opponent gets up to, see how much we can get in damage-wise. Expressive Iteration, great for our opponent. I think we could just F6. We would love it if they ended up tapping out. I don't think they will because they're going to end up getting a second treasure token. They'll throw this guy away in a heartbeat to get a second treasure token. So their counter magic isn't a big deal with the Cavern, but they'll have a lightning bolt or something up that they can kill the Yearling with. There's our 3rd Unholy Heat. My favorite card ever printed. So they're halfway through their deck now, and they've seen 3 Unholy Heats. They're not respecting the Yearling, or they have a kill spell, instant speed kill spell. Now, we're going to see some fun, assuming they don't have a kill spell, so please don't kill our Yearling. Ragavan's fine. Now they're holding up counter magic. Also fine. Alright, let's see. This is the moment we've been waiting for. Our Izzet Murktide opponent has seen 3 Unholy Heats. And also a Lightning Bolt. Do they have another Lightning Bolt or Unholy Heat to kill our Belligerent Yearling? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's go ahead and draw with the 1 ring. Carnage Tyrant is really nice. Okay, if you're new to this, you know that we don't have the mana though. We're missing the white mana, so we can't do Galt. Wow, we can't do our fun combo. Hold on, so let's do this again. So we can do Galta, green, 2 green and 2 white. So white. Oh man, we're getting punished by our colorless mana base. Can we do? I guess we have to do a Carnage Tyrant, so we can go. It can't be countered anyway, but we need the green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I was so excited. I thought we were going to get there. I really did. But we did not. And now we're going to end up dying to our own one ring triggers. Oh, that's so painful. So painful. We should have played the forest last turn and not the Urza Saga. Is there any way we could do this? I don't want. All right, so we haven't played a land yet. Is that our solution? We played the cavern, man. All right, so we definitely made some mistakes. We should have played the forest over Urza Saga last turn. At a double green, we still wouldn't have gotten there. So we go white, white, green. Yeah, we just can't do it. All right, well, we'll see what happens. I think we're dead, but 1, 2, 3. Oh man, I was so excited, and I thought we had it, and I didn't even pay attention to the janky mana base and how we're not going to get there with what we're looking at. But we're going to go through the motions just to get the reps in. We could have not done this to show our opponent what we are really up to, but man, so painful. So close. That was it. That was going to be our 12-2 and a 12-12 coming in with trampling. Opponent goes to 2. We go to dead. Ah, sigh. 6, 8. We go to 1, and they're going to make a copy. And good GG's. All right, so that was the turn. I said it. I needed to think. This is why we play the game. I needed to think more about our land drops. We played that Urza for basically no value that turn. So if we had not played the Urza, we would have played a forest instead. And then we would have had a green and a green for the forest, and then we would have had to play the cavern to make it uncounterable. So we were already missing the Sacred Foundry. We didn't draw until it was too late. We never had a choice to play the Sacred Foundry before. It was either the Urza or the cavern. So I guess we should have ran out the cavern instead of the Urza Saga. And then the next turn, yeah, we still wouldn't have gotten there. I think we needed to spend a turn turning this Mycosynth Gardens into something. All right, I'm sure there was some punt there with the mana base, but holy cow. Oh, that's frustrating. I was about to live the dream, the Galta Maven plus Belligerent Yearling dream. We had them all set up and ready to go. Man, all right, well, let's see what we can bring in Storm's Wrath to help clean the board. As we saw there, though, we were in a position to win with it regardless. They had a pretty slow start, even though they saw 3 Unholy Heats and a Lightning Bolt and several card draw spells. Normally when you see a turn 1 Dragon's Rage Channeler out with an Izzet deck, they have Delirium by turn 2, so we were lucky about that. We had a pretty fast start. Alright, so we could bring in Storm's Wrath. They'd try to get countered. Tormod's Crypt to help with the Delirium nonsense. That's usually our game plan. So what do we take out, though? Explore. We saw the power of the Yearling. Again, the power of the Yearling. Don't want to take out Caverns. Kessig Wolfrun seems pretty good. Take out. I mean, I've been boarding out lands just to help. We play so many of them. All right, let's run it back. Man, that was disappointing. I really thought we were there. So close to the dream. And our janky mana base, I should have paid more attention. I should have definitely switched up. All right, so this we have Bounce Land, Amulet Vigor. I think this is good. We're going to have to restart the video again once we name Dinosaurs with Cavern, so get ready. We could just run out the Saga and get on board for our second Amulet of Vigor, but is that a winning strategy? I don't think so. I mean, it might be. I'm not sure. Based on our hand, I'm thinking it's not a winning strategy. We only have the 1 bounce land. We want to get it down on turn 2 to get the Pugnacious Hammerskull down. And then, or we could just play the long game, Urza Saga into Amulet of Vigor, Cavern of Soul, or Urza Saga, so we end up with 3 Amulet of Vigors in time to cast the Maverick, Galton Maverick on turn 3 or 4. Either way, we'll be able to get this Pugnacious. So yeah, I think we're going to do Urza Saga. We have the second one if we really want to save it to make Karnstrucks. What we want is probably another bounce land. At some point, so that we can abuse the double Amulet of Vigor. We could also take a slower approach with this Pugnacious Hammer Skull, not run it out on turn 2 because we can, but instead just start making Karnstrucks with our Gruul Turf. Oh yeah, the other thing is the Gruul Turf has to bounce a land, so we would end up untapping, tapping this to get a Karnstruct, and returning the Gruul Turf to our hand, and next turn we'd be just out of lands. So I think what we want to do here is... we don't have a way to make multiple land drops is one problem. So this is why the magic number appears to be 6 with Primeval Titan, right? Because next turn we can get up to 6 mana with a single bounce spell, or bounce land, and a second Amulet of Vigor. I really think we probably should have, we probably should have ran out the Cavern there for a variety of reasons, so that was a mistake too. So the Cavern should have come down to make sure that we could play our spells next turn. And we're going to have to play the Gruul Turf instead if we want to get maximum value out of these Amulet of Vigors. What we could do instead is next turn go get the second Amulet, play a Cavern, play the Pugnacious Hammer Skull. And the following turn we would have another Urza Saga plus double Gruul Turf to get the Galta and Maven out. So maybe that's our best line. So we're going to go, we'll tap for mana, have 1, there'll be 3 to get the Pugnacious Hammer Skull out. Next turn, we'll be playing the third land plus, oh man, I don't think we can do it. Losing the land with Urza's painful. Because we'll have, the Gruul Turf will be our land for a turn, and we'll get up to 6 again. So yeah, these Urza Sagas add a whole nother dimension to the deck as far as trickiness and familiarity that you can see is causing me some problems. We'll see what we draw. The Yearling would be good. Pugnacious Hammer Skull is great, obviously. We already Wayward Swordtooth would be probably our best draw to ensure multiple land drops. Another Urza Saga. So we could just go for the Tormod's Crypt. But right now they don't even have... they have 1 card type in there. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we name Dinosaur. Run out the Hammer Skull. Subtlety. So if we put the Pugnacious Gear Skull on, Hammer Skull on top, they will cast it with off the Ragavan. So we're going to have to bottom it, unfortunately. Now we're going to take our beats. Sounds good for our opponent, getting around the counters. Subtlety gets around the Cavern. It doesn't counter it, it just returns it to the top or bottom of your library, or puts it on top of the bottom of your library. The Evoke Elementals, busted. Now we're left with 6 mana next turn. We'd really like to draw a Wayward Swordtooth. Our best draw next turn is a Wayward Swordtooth. Brother's Hood End. Yep, I've played that card many a time against an Amulet Titan deck. It's a pretty big blowout. So yeah, Galta. So there goes all of our best laid plans have been wrecked. And now we're left to probably dying slowly. They only have 2 cards in hand, but we have nothing. I mean, we can make some constructs next turn. Slowly rebuild. Can we find a way back in this game? We basically need our opponent not to do anything, right? So here they have Preordain. That's pretty good. So there, I mean, it's finding action, I'm sure. We're on a 4-turn clock currently, and it's going to take us quite a while to rebuild. I mean, we'll get the construct. Wayward Swordtooth. Okay, so that is our best draw. Do we want to make the token? Do we want to go ahead and make the construct? So we make the construct, we get a 1/1. Alright, let me think this through. Or we can either get a 1/1 or put down a 5/5 and play another land. Play another Urza Saga. I think we're going to go ahead and we don't have to do it now anyway. Alright. I don't know what I'm thinking about. It's only going to 2. Do we want to just take our beats? Or do we want to make a construct? See if they have another subtlety. They also have Delirium, so they might just unholy heat this before we can make our land drops. Okay, start our recording again. Play another Urza Saga for turn. So next turn we get the Amulet of Vigor. Hopefully they don't kill our Wayward Swordtooth. I don't believe in a world in which our Izzet opponent doesn't have unholy heats for days, or 2 lightning bolts, or a subtlety. I mean, it's just the answers for days in a deck like this. So they're going to get in, see if they... Oh, they remembered. I can't block. Got a Wayward Swordtooth of their own. Alright, so we're going to have, assuming this stays on the battlefield, we're going to go get it. We'll tap for 1, get an Amulet of Vigor. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We'll have a total of 9 mana. Even without this, I think we'll have enough to play Galta and Maven. But we really want the Wayward Swordtooth to stay alive because we want the 5/5. And unlike last game, our opponent is at 18. Last game at this point, on the crucial turns, our opponent was at low enough life that we really just needed 1 hit. 5/5 Trampling Dinosaur token. And we're also just in bold range, right? So we can, so he can swing in, our opponent can swing in for 3 and then bolt us dead. I really need to think about this Wayward Swordtooth. Okay, waiting. I think I'm doing this correctly. Tap for mana. Now we could go get a Tormod's Crypt, But I think the Tormod's Crypt just does it do any? What does it do? Next turn, maybe we could do the Tormod's. I think we're just dead. I think we got to go as best we can. All right, so we're gonna go green, green. Put that on first. Put that on second. That on first. That on second. Six, seven. Return the cavern to our hand. They probably have the subtlety. If they don't have the Unholy Heat and Lightning Bolts to take care of things, they must have something. And I imagine it's a subtlety, at which point we will sadly scoop. Game 1, we are so close to playing this Galta and Maven. Alright, there's the Unholy Heat. I don't know why they waited. I guess they wanted to see what kind of nonsense we were up to. Whenever you attack, choose one, create a tap, then attacking trample where X is the greatest power among other attacking creatures. So yeah, that's going to be a problem for us. I don't think we have another land drop. Alright, so I think we're probably just dead. We're dead to a lot of things. Losing our Wayward Sawtooth is unfortunate. We couldn't have attacked with it anyway, but now they're going to swing in for 3 and Lightning Bolt our face. So I think what we'll do here is, if we manage somehow, miraculously, to survive this turn, we will make a Construct, go get a Tormoth Crypt. Did they find a Lightning Bolt? Doesn't look like it. I mean, I know they exiled that, but... Another expressive iteration. So F6 through this. Yeah, if they're not finding Unholy Heats and subtleties, they're finding expressive iterations. So, are we dead to the Lightning Bolt? Pick your poison. Each opponent sacrifices an enchantment. Yep, there that goes. Guess they were worried, I don't know, another Amulet of Vigor, some shenanigans, or they wanted us not to get a Tormoth Crypt. Arboreal Grazer. So, whenever you attack, choose one. So we can't greatest power among other attacking creatures, so that's the problem. Yeah. So we're gonna have to... Again, where X is the number of other attacking creatures, so it doesn't actually trigger itself, unfortunately. So we could, theoretically, what our plan of action there was, theoretically our plan of action there was to get a 1/1, play this as a blocker, have the 1/1 to block Ragavan, gain some life. Okay, I guess they just want to surveil. I mean, we're dead. Just running through the reps right now. Just running through the reps. Alright, opponents, nice. This has been another edition of Keeping Modern Janky with Johnny Cycles. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out my website, cyclesgaming.com, for original Magic the Gathering content. You can read about my Commander decks or my Janky Modern brews. My latest article is about the Zombie Precon and its effect on Commander. I give you a couple different deck lists. If you're interested in a science fiction / fantasy novel, be sure to check out my book, The Podcon. I'm publishing it serially, a couple chapters every month. Again, thanks for watching. Check me out on YouTube, Johnny Cycles. Click that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it, and I'll catch you on the next one.